Another rookie quarterback has been named a Week 1 starter in the NFL. Two big-name running backs find new homes in NFL free agency, and two former All-Pros officially end their holdouts. Welcome into NFL Daily. I am your host, Jack Sperry. And do me a favor right now, go ahead and click that thumbs up icon if you are pumped for the 2023 NFL season. All right, now let's get into today's news, starting with Anthony Richardson of the Indianapolis Colts, drafted in the top 5 of this year's NFL draft. And Colts head coach Shane Steichen has officially confirmed that he will be the Week 1 starter for the Colts offense. Of course, he had his preseason debut against the Colts this past weekend. And, there's some people going around, throw that really ugly interception that he had where he threw it sidearm right to a defender. And they're like, this guy stinks, man. But listen, I've gone over the All-22 film on Anthony Richardson, and I was actually pretty impressed with his play. He definitely made a mistake on that one interception. He turned a bad play by his wide receiver into a disaster by completely panicking and throwing it right to a defender. But overall, he looked comfortable, man. He had multiple high-level throws where, he had one throw to the end zone that Alec Pierce that was absolutely on a dot, and he didn't have the proper base that you usually want. This guy has incredible arm talent. He's arguably already the best runner of the football at the quarterback position in the National Football League. This guy is a freak of nature. And Richardson's physical gifts, right, that ability to run the football, the ability to make plays outside of structure, is what gives him the value here with the Indianapolis Colts, right? With a guy like Gardner Minshew, this isn't a talented enough roster for Gardner Minshew to go out there and win football games, plain and simply. They're going to be relying on Anthony to really carry this offense this year, and because he's the more talented QB here, that's why Shane Steichen is going with him over Gardner Minshew, because even though Gardner has more experience, right, maybe he's a little bit better on the mental processing side of things right now, Anthony definitely has the more physical gifts, the more natural talent, and that it gives the Colts a fighting chance here week in and week out. And I think in the long run, I'm not sure if it's going to fully develop this year. I think he's definitely going to take his rookie lumps. He is pretty new to the position. But overall, I am a believer in Anthony Richardson. I think he is going to become a superstar quarterback in the National Football League. And I'm a big-time supporter of this kid because you just don't see this kind of talent very often. He's newer to the position, right? That Florida offense last year really did him no favors, really forced him to bomb the football deep, which of course led to a lower completion percentage. I think with Shane Steichen, who has been with guys like Justin Herbert, has been with guys like Jalen Hurts, and has done a really great job at developing quarterback talent throughout his career, I think Anthony Richardson could be his magnum opus. I think that he's definitely the most talented guy that he has played with, and that includes Justin Herbert, by the way. And I think that at the end of the day, I think eventually Anthony Richardson will get there, and he will become a superstar quarterback. Now we're on to some of the free agency news that broke yesterday, which is that Dalvin Cook, former Vikings running back here, has signed a 1-year contract with the New York Jets that could be worth up to $8.7 million. His base salary is going to be $7 million. And this is yet another big name that the New York Jets have added to their offensive repertoire. Now, you look at the stats from Dalvin over the last couple of years, they have been dropping precipitously. Right, you look at 2020, one of the best running backs in the National Football League, over 5 yards a carry and 16 touchdowns, but over the last couple of seasons has definitely taken a dip. He has dealt with injuries, of course. Last year he was actually pretty healthy, but just 4.4 yards per carry. That's not exactly what you want to see, and that's exactly why the Vikings let him go this offseason and why it took so long for him to get signed here and why he's going to end up making less than $10 million with the New York Jets this season. And listen, when it comes to the New York Jets, all right, I know that the hype is huge for this team right now. They're on Hard Knocks. They're bringing in Aaron Rodgers, all of these different things. They have a great defense. They got a bunch of really great young players. But at the end of the day, I think that although they're super exciting, I do think that they have some major questions that they are going to have to answer here if they are going to come out of a loaded AFC East and make the 2023 playoffs in the AFC this year. The first question that I have on my mind right now is that shaky offensive line. This is arguably the worst offensive line that Aaron Rodgers has had throughout his career. Of course, in Green Bay, constantly had fantastic protection there in Green Bay. And now in New York, this is a very shaky offensive line. You got some nice pieces here. You know, you're hoping Mekhi Becton can show out this year, right? Elijah Vera Tucker is awesome. You're hoping that rookie Joe Tippmann, the center out of Wisconsin, is a good piece for you. But this is definitely a question mark for New York. And if you don't have a good offensive line, it's going to be tough for Aaron Rodgers to overcome that, and especially in this division where you got so many great pass rushes. It's definitely going to be a concern of mine going into the season, and it's going to have to be addressed if they want to win this division. Then also there's the Nathaniel Hackett problem, right? The last time that we saw this guy have his own offense there with the Denver Broncos, it was one of the worst and most poorly designed offenses I've ever seen on film. Plain and simply, the spacing was all jacked up. The sequencing was terrible. Like, this guy, it just, you know, he's good when he can just be the kind of guy that's just the support guy, right? When he was just the support guy, the offensive coordinator there in Green Bay, and Matt LaFleur was in charge of the play calling, when he was in charge of the sequencing, when Matt LaFleur was in charge of the offense, Nathaniel Hackett was just fine as an offensive coordinator. But when he's in charge of that stuff, when it's his offense, it's just not all that great. And I'm worried that Nathaniel Hackett once again is going to derail this offense, even with Aaron Rodgers, his guy there at the helm at quarterback. And then also, we still don't know for sure if Robert Saleh is a legitimate head coach. To this point, no playoff appearances, right? You know, I think that there's no question about it that he knows his side of the football. The defense was absolutely fantastic last year, but is he a culture builder? Is he that singular presence at the heart of this organization that's going to get everybody on the same rhythm? It's going to be interesting to watch Hard Knocks tonight and throughout the preseason to see how Robert Saleh does to try to get this team together. But it is question mark heading into the season. And because of these three questions, right now I am projecting the New York Jets to finish third place in the AFC East. And honestly, it wouldn't shock me if they were dead last. I think the New England Patriots are going to be sneaky good this year. The Miami Dolphins offense last year, if Tua Tagovailoa was healthy, was the most potent offense, an electric offense in the National Football League. And then also, of course, you know the Buffalo Bills are stacked on both sides of the football. They've got a good head coach. They've got a superstar quarterback. They're going to be tough to dethrone as well as the champions of this division. So go ahead and predict it for me down in the comments section. Will the New York Jets make the playoffs here in 2023? Give me a yes or give me a no. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. Take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. And then in other free agency news here, running back Ezekiel Elliott, former Dallas Cowboy, two-time rushing champion, rushing leader, has signed a one-year contract worth up to $6 million with the New England Patriots. And, you know, it's worth asking, is Bill Belichick getting yet another steal here of a hardy veteran here in Ezekiel Elliott? If you take a look at his numbers over the last 4 years, it's definitely been like Dalvin Cook, and it's even been worse than Dalvin Cook, right? 3.8 yards per carry last year, absolutely abysmal, but he does get the good, he's still a really, really good power, short yardage type running back, right? 12 touchdowns, 10 touchdowns back in 2021. You know, this guy could still get those 3rd and 1s, the goal line touchdowns, all that stuff that you're looking for. Zeke can still do that stuff, but if you're still looking for that rushing champion type of player that's going to be explosive to all areas of the field and be that home run hitter, I just don't think Ezekiel Elliott is that type of running back anymore. And because of that, I don't really see this as a true needle-moving move by the New England Patriots. I don't think this is going to make them division champions now in the AFC East. You know, I still think I'm still projecting the Patriots to finish last this year in that division, even with the addition to Ezekiel Elliott here, and I don't really think that this is going to move the needle too much, but it's definitely going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Now, coming up here, I'm going to be going over the two major holdouts of former All-Pro players that went down yesterday, that finished yesterday, but before I get into those, go ahead and check out our friends at Fanatics, and they've got a great selection of ball caps here for your favorite NFL team. We've got a great selection if you like flat bills, if you like curved bills, if you like different kind of crazy designs. Fanatics has you covered, man. So if you need a new game day hat this year for your favorite NFL team, go to chatsports.com/NFL hats. If you use that link, Fanatics will know that we sent you. Again, that's chatsports.com/ NFL hats. Now let's talk about Jonathan Taylor, who, of course, requested a trade from the Indianapolis Colts a couple of weeks ago, has been holding out to kind of deal with some of the injuries that he was dealt with last year. He kind of cleaned some stuff up, and then he reported to training camp yesterday. Did not practice, but he is there with Shane Steichen and crew. This is what Ian Rappaport has to say about the former All-Pro running back. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, who has been away from the team getting additional rehab on his ankle, is back today, source said. He remains on the PUP list, and his stance has not changed, but he has returned. And what he means by his stance has not changed, he means he still wants to be traded. Now, we can take a look at his career stats throughout the 3-year career to this point. And, those first 2 years, absolutely fantastic. At least 5 yards per carry, 18 touchdowns back in 2021 when he was an NFL All-Pro. Arguably the best running back in the league that season. But then last year, the offensive line took a big step back, and so did Jonathan Taylor's production. He also dealt with some injuries, only played in 11 games, and only had 4 touchdowns throughout the season. And right now, I think that GM Chris Ballard and owner Jim Irsay, they're not going to give him up for anything less than probably a first-round pick. And I know that that's a crazy price, and I don't think any NFL team is going to be willing to pay that price. They're going to have to be willing to come down here because he does have injury concerns, because the production did go down, because if he goes somewhere, the team that gets him is going to have to give him a brand new massive extension. There's multiple reasons why Jonathan Taylor's trade value is lower on the open market right now, and to think that you're going to get a first-round pick for this guy, I just don't think it's going to happen. So if a trade's going to happen, I think Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay are going to have to be willing to take a second or a third-round pick at the most. Now, let me know down there in the comments section, will the Colts trade Jonathan Taylor this season, here in 2023, whether it be before the season or by the trade deadline? Does a deal get done? Give me a T if you think he's going to get traded, or if you think he's going to be a Colt for the entirety of the 2023 season. Give me a K down there in the comments section. Now let's talk about Zack Martin, who ended his holdout on Monday, and he reported to camp, and they have agreed to a brand new restructured contract there in Dallas, which is great news because the Dallas Cowboys, they really need Zack Martin because, at least in my opinion, he is the best offensive guard on the planet today, and to add him to this depth chart here is absolutely fantastic for the Dallas Cowboys. You really need him in this group. You really like Tyron Smith and Terrence Steele as your tackles. Tyler Smith is a guard that you're really looking forward to in his career. Tyler Biadasz is fine, but Zack Martin is really, really the key piece to this offensive line heading into 2023. There was no way Jerry Jones was going to let this thing get into the season, and now Zack Martin is expected to make about $8 million more over the next 2 seasons, which is good for Zack. It's good for the Cowboys because they get their star guard back. It's good for both sides, all right? I think both sides came to a deal that was acceptable for each party, and I think that at the end of the day, we get to see Zack Martin play football, and that's absolutely good for the fans as well. So now that'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate all the support. Make sure you click that subscribe button for me right now if you want daily NFL content from us here at Chat Sports. And my name is Jack Sperry. I'm an NFL analyst here at Chat Sports. If you want to give me a follow on Twitter, you can go to @Jack_Sperry. Really do appreciate all the support, guys. I will see you guys later. Peace.